Germany is undergoing a profound shift in its defense posture. For years, the nation's military spending remained relatively modest, often falling short of NATO commitments. However, recent geopolitical events, most notably the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, have triggered a significant reassessment. In 2024, German defense spending reached the NATO target of 2% of its gross domestic product. This amounted to an impressive sum of over 69 billion euros, or approximately $75.4 billion. This substantial increase was largely facilitated by a special 100 billion euro fund, known as the Sondervermögen, established specifically to bolster the Bundeswehr, Germany's armed forces. This fund signaled a clear break from past policies. The political landscape in Germany has dramatically adapted to support this new direction. An early federal election is slated for February 23, 2025. This follows the collapse of the previous coalition government, a development partly linked to disagreements over defense spending and support for Ukraine. Remarkably, there is now a broad cross-party consensus on the necessity of unprecedented rearmament. Parties that historically championed pacifism or détente are now vocal supporters of strengthening Germany's military capabilities. This widespread agreement, with few dissenting voices, underscores the depth of the perceived threat and the urgency of the response. It marks a genuine Zeitenwende, or watershed moment, in German security policy. This military resurgence is not merely a matter of increased budgets, it reflects a fundamental change in Germany's strategic thinking. Defense Minister Boris Pistorius of the SPD has publicly stated an ambitious goal for the German army to be fit for war by 2029. This declaration encapsulates the seriousness with which Berlin views the current security environment in Europe. The discussions in early 2025 about an additional 300 billion euros for rearmament, separate from the regular defense budget, further illustrate the scale of this commitment. This financial dedication aims to address decades of underinvestment and ensure Germany can meet its responsibilities within NATO and the European Union. Key political figures are actively driving this militarization. Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock from the Greens Party, a party with deep roots in anti-war movements, has become a prominent advocate for robust military support for Ukraine and a stronger German military. This shift within the Greens, which began to surface during the 1999 Kosovo conflict, is particularly noteworthy. Similarly, the Social Democrats, traditionally proponents of Ostpolitik and dialogue with Russia, now also firmly promote military strengthening. The incoming coalition government, expected to be led by prospective Chancellor Friedrich Merz, has pledged to continue this trajectory, even suggesting exempting defense spending from Germany's constitutional debt brake. The infusion of funds is translating into tangible enhancements for the Bundeswehr. In 2024 alone, the German government approved a staggering 97 major procurement decisions. These are not minor acquisitions. They represent a comprehensive effort to modernize across all branches of the military. Key procurements include the advanced Skyranger 30 air defense system, designed to counter aerial threats like drones and missiles. Germany is also acquiring the sophisticated Arrow 3 missile defense system, a clear indication of its focus on protecting against ballistic missile threats. Furthermore, orders for new Leopard main battle tanks and 22 additional self-propelled howitzers will significantly boost the Army's firepower and operational capabilities. Beyond acquiring new hardware, Germany is also restructuring its military to meet contemporary challenges. A significant development in 2024 was the elevation of its cyber warfare arm to a full branch of the military. This places cyber operations on par with the traditional services, the Luftwaffe, the Navy, and the land forces. This move recognizes the critical importance of the cyber domain in modern warfare and national security. It reflects an understanding that future conflicts will be fought not only on land, sea, and air, but also in cyberspace, requiring specialized skills and dedicated command structures to defend critical infrastructure and conduct offensive operations if necessary. Germany's international military posture is also becoming more assertive and visible. In a historic move, Germany ratified an agreement to station its first-ever permanent brigade abroad in Lithuania. This brigade will consist of approximately 5,000 troops, representing a substantial long-term commitment to NATO's eastern flank and a direct response to security concerns in the Baltic region. Adding to this more active stance, in early 2025, the German frigate Hessen fired live rounds in combat for the first time. This occurred while engaging Houthi rebels in the Red Sea, an operation aimed at protecting vital international shipping routes, showcasing a willingness to use force to protect its interests. However, this ambitious military expansion is not without its challenges, particularly concerning personnel. As of early 2025, the Bundeswehr faced a significant shortage, with 21,826 fewer personnel than its target of 203,000 active members. Despite an 8% increase in recruitment efforts, retaining new soldiers has proven difficult. Over a quarter of new recruits left after their initial 6-month probationary period. Vacancy rates are also concerning, with nearly 20% of non-enlisted positions and a striking 28% of enlisted positions remaining unfilled. Addressing these human resources issues is crucial for the success of Germany's modernization drive and its ability to fulfill its expanded security commitments. Germany's military buildup is occurring within a broader context of rapidly increasing defense spending across Europe. Global military expenditure saw its steepest rise in over 3 decades in 2024. European nations collectively are allocating vast sums to armament, with their combined spending exceeding $690 billion. This continent-wide trend reflects a shared perception of a deteriorating security environment. The urgency felt in Berlin is mirrored in capitals across the continent, from Paris to Warsaw, as nations grapple with new and re-emerging threats to their stability and sovereignty. This collective rearmament signals a significant shift in European security priorities. Several factors are driving this European surge in military investment. The ongoing war in Ukraine serves as the most immediate and potent catalyst. The conflict has shattered long-held assumptions about peace in Europe and exposed vulnerabilities in national defenses. Beyond the immediate crisis in Ukraine, there are growing concerns about the future reliability of traditional security alliances, particularly with the United States. The prospect of a potential second Trump administration, which has historically pressured European NATO members to increase their contributions and questioned the value of the alliance, has spurred European nations to take greater responsibility for their own defense and security. Within this landscape of heightened military preparedness, Germany is emerging as a pivotal player. Its substantial increase in defense spending makes it a key contributor to Europe's overall military strengthening. When combined, the defense spending of just 4 major European powers, Germany, France, Poland, and Italy, surpassed Russia's entire military budget in 2024 by over $80 billion. This demonstrates the economic capacity of European nations to invest heavily in defense when the political will is present. Germany's commitment, given its economic strength and central location, is particularly significant for the collective defense capabilities of the continent. Furthermore, Germany has taken on a significant role as a major arms supplier, providing substantial military aid to countries in conflict. It is one of the leading providers of weaponry and equipment to Ukraine, helping Kyiv defend itself against Russian aggression. Germany also supplies arms to Israel, reflecting its complex foreign policy commitments. This role as an arms exporter, while contributing to the defense of its allies and partners, also positions Germany as an influential actor in ongoing conflicts. It underscores the nation's growing willingness to use its industrial capacity to affect geopolitical outcomes, a departure from its more restrained post-World War II stance on arms exports. Germany's assertive military buildup is undeniably reshaping the balance of power within Europe. This rapid transformation, while intended to enhance security, also carries the potential to heighten global tensions. As Germany flexes its newfound military muscle, its actions are closely watched by both allies and potential adversaries. Analysts suggest this militarization, occurring in direct response to Russian actions and the broader volatile international climate, contributes to an increased risk of wider conflicts. The concern is that a more heavily armed Europe, while potentially deterring aggression, could also lead to miscalculations or an escalatory spiral, inching closer to a scenario some fear could involve a larger conflagration. The shadow of a potential World War III, however distant it may seem, looms over these discussions. The focus on military solutions and continuous arms transfers, particularly to Ukraine, without a parallel emphasis on robust peace negotiations, is criticized by some for prolonging conflict and increasing the danger of misjudgment. Germany's hawkish stance on Russia and its alignment with the United States policies, including on China, could strain international relations further. While aiming for deterrence, The current trajectory carries inherent risks in a geopolitical landscape already fraught with instability. The path to enhanced security is complex, requiring careful navigation to avoid unintended escalations. Internally, Germany faces significant socio-economic consequences stemming from this military prioritization. The nation has been grappling with a recession for 2 years, as of early 2025, partly due to high energy costs resulting from EU sanctions against Russia. Major companies, including Volkswagen, are planning job cuts, and business bankruptcies have reached their highest levels since 2008. Critics argue that the massive increase in military spending diverts crucial resources from social security, public services, and investments needed to combat Germany's industrial decline. There are widespread fears that this rearmament could lead to what some describe as a frontal assault on the welfare state, exacerbating existing economic hardships for many citizens. Finally, the intense focus on rearmament also raises questions about environmental impacts and overall regional stability. Increased military activities, such as more frequent and larger-scale exercises, naval deployments like the one in the Red Sea, and the establishment of permanent foreign bases, inevitably have an environmental footprint. Moreover, the significant financial and political capital being poured into military endeavors necessarily means fewer resources and less attention for other critical global challenges, including climate change and environmental protection. The long-term effects of this militarization on regional stability, resource management, and the delicate balance of power in Europe remain a subject of ongoing debate and concern.